Hey, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about micro content. So what is micro content for social media, and how can you use this to not only generate more leads, but more sales for your social media and your business? Stay tuned. Cepeda Media Show.
You're listening to the Cepeda Media Show, the show for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to learn how to market effectively in today's world, implement systems that will generate leads, and ultimately increase profits. Hosted by Carlos Cepeda.
Welcome to the show. We got another great show coming here for you. Today we're going to be discussing micro content. Actually, let me turn it off. Micro content for social media. So what is micro content for social media, and how can you use this to help you generate more leads and more sales and grow your business in 2020? Today we have an amazing guest. Our guest, not only does he use micro content for social media for his clients, but he's going to show us some tips, tricks, and some cool different ways for you to get your micro content out there today. Our guest is, let's bring him on, Joe Henkel. Where you go, Joe? Oh,
I see.
Oh.
I see myself. Do you see me?
There you go.
Okay. What's up? Glad to be here.
Okay, we're waiting for people to clap. That's why. Hey, welcome, Joe, to the show. So, first off, people are asking, what is micro content? What does that all mean?
Yeah. So, when I think of content, Gary Vee, I know popularized this phrase of micro content, and it's really, you have your big content, you have your macro content, and your macro content can be anything that's long form. It could be a full podcast. It can be a video like this. It's longer, probably above like 6 to 7 minutes. I clarify as macro content, and the micro content is any content that you make from that content. So that could be memes, it could be short form videos that you kind of chop down, it could be just any other things, maybe just clips from the audio, clips that you use for promotion, and anything under that you block down from like that larger content, probably to like under 5 minutes, I clarify as micro content.
Got it. So does that mean they have to create something long form first and then create the micro content from that?
Not necessarily. Sometimes for busy entrepreneurs or people who have, don't feel like they have the bandwidth to add another just a thing on their plate. Sometimes it's quite effective to, just focus on that macro content, focus on that big piece of content, and then chopping it down to something smaller. But for some people might just find it more effective just focusing first on just those short videos, which are also doing really well on social media.
Right, yeah, because sometimes those short videos might be easier for them to do versus like the longer form of content, Mm-hmm. And also too, I think it just takes a little bit of a learning curve too for people. Like they might be afraid to do something longer, but like a quick 10-second video might be easier for them to do, and for also easier for them to produce and put out,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
I think
go ahead.
It all starts with kind of like with what someone has the bandwidth to do. If someone it's new to creating content, or like their business doesn't have any content at all, I think they need to start with what they can and not necessarily compare to what someone else is doing with all their content, and maybe just start with like one type and then see where that it can expand with that.
Yeah, it's so easy to look, the grass is greener on the other side, and you're always looking and you're always seeing what they're doing. It's like, oh, I want to do that. I want to get to that level. But it's like, start with what you have. Start with, if it's just your cell phone, start with your cell phone and then go from there. You don't have to have everything. Everybody thinks they have to be perfect and ready to go and have all the lights and equipment, but no, not necessarily. Just start with what you have.
Absolutely.
And then as far as like, where does micro content go? Does that mean you have to put it out in every platform?
Yeah. So I recommend just starting with what you feel like is working for most effectively for whatever area of business that you're focusing on right now. And that the cliche in marketing is um, market where people are, right? So market where your audience is. So for some of us, that will look like, oh, pushing maybe to some of the platforms that are more kind of has that viral effect right now, like Instagram Reels and TikTok, which are having a lot of reach right now. But if you're maybe focusing more on business now and you feel like your audience is on LinkedIn or Facebook, that content should be focused there. And some of that comes with experimenting and testing, and some that just comes looks at is from looking at your platforms, looking at your numbers right now, and looking at what do I need to do right now to make just the most business sense.
Right. Yeah, because I think that's another thing they always get. Like, okay, I only have like Instagram, and then they think I have to get Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and like Periscope and like every other platform. It's like, okay, let's just start off with what you have now. Get something going at least effective with that different platform or that platform that you currently have. Get that going, get comfortable with that, and then maybe start expanding from there. People try to get all these different things, so now they have 10 different platforms, and then they get overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I think especially the business leaders who are watching this, right? And you don't have time to produce all this content for all your social media platforms or every social media platform that exists. I think it's wise for you to kind of figure out, okay, what can I create now that's going to help grow my business? What's going to help me make money? And then when you feel like, oh, that's being effective on one or two platforms, and then you see how you can expand, and that maybe it includes bringing on team, hiring out, or something like that. But it's a lot of, I know businesses or people who are starting up or creatives that are starting up can get so stressed out that it's not being effective for them, even though the numbers might be happening a little bit. You just got to start with what you can and start with what's working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't go for the gusto. Don't run the marathon. Just hold off. Go a little bit. What's up, Chris? Joining us today. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? And as far as what you do for your clients, tell me a little bit more what exactly is that you do for your clients when it comes to micro content, and especially when they're like, tell me are they newer, or do you get some people that are a little bit more experienced and have more platforms?
Yeah, right now I'm working with a little bit of people in different niches. And really, I'm kind of focusing on helping them to have a holistic view of it and holistic view of social media and figuring out, okay, and part of that is figuring out what's going to work for their business and for their goals. And I try to kind of integrate just social media management and micro content. But it kind of depends on someone's needs, right? So if they feel like, oh, okay, they're being really effective with maybe their live show, or being really effective with maybe Facebook marketing, and then figuring out, okay, do we want to focus on doubling down on that, or do we want to focus on other platforms? So I think just as a social media manager and as a marketer, I try to help people figure out, okay, what's going to work for them first, right? And then kind of put a package around that is going to be effective.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm trying to think of like of the clients that I had initially when I was doing a little bit more of this, and it's like they don't understand, or you have to help them understand the different ways you can put out content. They think they might see videos, they might see posts, so then you have to kind of show them, okay, you can do some posts, some writing, some videos, some blogs, shorter forms, just answering questions. Because sometimes they just might have one frame of reference of what they've seen out there, or the fancy pictures with next to the Lamborghini. I'm like, well, maybe that might help. It depends on what you're doing and what you're selling, but just also for the different types of professions too. I have some real estate agents who obviously have to showcase the homes and stuff like that. So just different ways of putting different content out there. And now another thing that a lot of people ask me is like, okay, how do I generate like leads, or how will this help my business? Can you talk a little bit more about how this can help their business?
Yeah. So with more content out there, you're getting in front of more people's faces, and you're getting in front of your audience's face more. You're building more connections. You're building a deeper relationship with each piece of content, and obviously, you can create very direct pieces of content that it's like, here's a video saying, "Oh, this is what I sell. This is the service I provide. Like, you go buy on my website, or go message me, or let's go schedule a consultation." So there's some direct piece of content, but I think it's important for leaders to think beyond that. And beyond that goes to sharing your message, sharing your story, sharing your vision, sharing how you help people, and not only just how you help people with your product or service, just how you can, the vision that you have to help people in their lives, or in the problem, or in and around the problem that your business is trying to solve. So the content can be directly tied to a sale or directly pointing to a sale, but also I think it's really valuable for content that just is out there that is going to provide some value to your audience.
Yeah, and I think also too, one of the things that I try to tell them is this is like a 24/7 like marketing, for you, prospecting for you. It's like, there's clients that I worked for before that they are now excited that they wake up and somebody reached out to them. It's like, okay, now I have a new client. And not only that, this builds this breaks down a lot of the walls and barriers and builds a little bit more rapport with the client. The clients that you get from when you're doing more effective content out there is a lot better than like a cold call that you're doing, or it's just like a client that you get out of nowhere. They feel like they know you. They feel like you're, like a friend, or even sometimes a little bit more of like a celebrity that they want to work with you. I've experienced that more with my clients. They're like, oh my God, they're reaching out to me. They said, you're the one I see online. You're that, lady from the videos. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's the type of clients you can build with generating content like this.
Yeah, and it's like, who are you probably going to think of first, or who you're going to hire first or buy from first? Probably the person that you spend 10 hours with than the person you spend no time with. And I kind of look at, someone watching our content, someone even just kind of looking at our Instagram feed for a bit and then scrolling back. Like, that's building a relationship. That's building a connection with a person that is going to lead to more opportunities that will generate revenue for our business, but also just build a connection. And if you believe something strong enough, and you believe you have a message surrounding your business that's going to help people, I think it's really important for you to share that.
Yeah, provide that service, provide that message, provide that help and guidance. And then, it's like the fruits of the labor. Okay, you're providing the help. It'll come back to you. And that's one of the things that sometimes it takes a while for clients to see that, because they think, oh, like I've been putting out video for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and nothing. Nobody's calling me. Nobody's doing anything. It's like, okay, you have to build it. It's like the roots. You're putting the roots in, and then after that, comes the fruits of the labor. It's like, it takes a little bit of time, patience, but just know that it'll come. And it happens with everybody. It's like, now that all the people that you see now on your phone and you recognize, they started from somewhere. They started with zero people. So it's like, it takes a little bit of time and patience. Are you experiencing some of that with your clients, where they like want to get results now right away?
Yeah, I think for all of us, it takes a little patience for us to understand and to learn, and like kind of have a vision for what we can do with it, right? And also, like, there's so much potential with social media, and also like we there's so much potential here, but not everyone that follows you on Instagram is going to buy from you. Not everyone who subscribes to your channel is even in your market. If you might have a real estate channel, and someone just follows you from another state just because they're interested, and they're never not going to buy a home anytime soon. Or there's like, you might have someone who's just watches your content for entertainment, and it's building a relationship, right? And it's a process over time. It's like, it would be almost like only talking to people, or only building friendships with people that are going to pay you, right? Or you're going to make money from. I think it's valuable to really look and be patient and like, okay, I'm gonna make this investment in the long term and make this investment not only in myself and my business, but in my audience.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. The good point that you brought up is sometimes people are just local. There might be a local business or something, and they think, well, why am I doing all this content where somebody from a different state might see it, or somebody from a different country might see it? Yeah, but you're building that brand, and you're building that brand. That way, people can try to not only come and go to your business, because sometimes people travel, across state or something, to just go to visit a business, or when they're there locally, like, oh, let's go visit that business we saw online. It's like you're building that brand. It's like everything starts off with one. McDonald's started off with one. It's like you're building that brand. So it's like just go from there. Just even if you're local, just make content that'll build from there. There's a plumber, I forget, Roger Wakefield. He's big on YouTube. Same thing. He just started making videos about just toilet and removing it and unplugging it, just by himself. He was local. Now he's built this massive business off of YouTube and expanded his company from that. Even though he was a local plumber, obviously he can't go out of state and be unclogging toilets. It's a local plumber, a local business, but he's built this massive brand off of making content.
And yeah, that's the power of social media marketing that is not really there in other types of marketing. For example, like you could run ads in the Yellow Pages and you could reach your local audience. But let's say you're selling, you used to have a restaurant and you sell syrup at your restaurant. Yeah, people in the local area are going to come to your restaurant and buy some of that syrup. But when you want to sell pancake syrup, maple syrup to people on the other side of the country, they don't know about you because they've only been watching, they've only been reading, driving by on the highway or see your page in the Yellow Book, right? But if you have an audience that you're building, and then you're like, okay, now my local business is being effective. Now I can manage this. Now I want to expand. You have that audience nationwide that's going to be excited for you to launch that part of your business.
And I think also too, that local aspect stops a lot of people, and they've been pushing through it. It is a barrier to get through, but I think hopefully this will sort of start breaking down some of that barrier for people to produce content. And you don't have to produce a lot of content. Just start with what you can. That's another thing that people get overwhelmed with. It's like, oh, I see this person every day or twice a day on Instagram, and they have 7 stories. It's like, oh, do I have to come out like that too? What's your advice for clients that think that they need to do that much, coming out the gate?
Yeah, I think you should create content that represents your brand well, and also start with what you have. So I think my advice would be slightly different for maybe an individual creative or individual entrepreneur who's just trying to build a side hustle or something, versus someone who's like has a kind of established business where they kind of have a marketing budget and they have something that they're ready to grow. So like if for individual entrepreneur who's just kind of still in their beginning stages of their business, like it's fine if you use a cell phone video on your iPhone camera. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to someone who kind of has this established business, right? So it's kind of knowing where you're at, knowing what you can afford to do, and then focusing on that. But it comes back to starting with what you have, starting with what you can, and starting with something. Not as good video is better than no video.
Yeah, and it comes back to that perfection. Like they see the quality type of video that people are producing. It's like, okay, but the same thing. They took time to get there, or their budget might be insane. You wouldn't want to do that. Let's just take your time, grab your phone, make a video, make a quick post, just some text too. And that's another thing. Like just make a text post, like your tweet. Post that on IG. It's just like, it doesn't have to be, that much work. Just a couple, take a couple minutes. Here's a tweet. Take a screenshot. Put it in Instagram, and that's another piece of content that you have. It's like does have to take a lot to do as well. But when is it a point where you think they should start outsourcing? Is there should they outsource right away, or at what point should they start outsourcing some of their work?
When outsource, you should outsource when it's going to make you a significantly more amount of money than doing it yourself. I think, especially like looking at it in a very business minded way, outsource when you can pay for it, when that creating that content, making that business, or if you're like, okay, I'm not generating that revenue now, but I want to make this investment in my business, and I see that kind of revenue coming in and helping grow my business that way. Because I look at outsourcing as an investment. You're investing in yourself, you're investing in your business, you're investing in your audience, right? So, as some people can go too early, right, and spend money on anything, right? Spend money on equipment that they're not using yet. Spend money on hiring people that, or hiring someone out that isn't going to add something to their business or help be making sales. So,
Yeah.
but once you're ready for that, and once that income's going to come in, like, you should start outsourcing.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think, yeah, be very careful. There's a lot of social media people, managers that you hear all the time, and unfortunately, sometimes they just, because the client doesn't know what that means or what they do, and the other people sort of brings them in. That's the downside of that. So just be careful with who you go with, but check some of their track record that they have. But yeah, definitely, I would say, yeah, start outsourcing when you can. I'd say outsource like bits and pieces, like whatever you can put out, because that gives you time to focus on your business. Like every hour you're spending trying to do something else, it's hour away from your business. And that's the give and take. It's like, yeah, that hour could be spent on growing your business, and have somebody else worry and have somebody else take care of that. And not only that, the person who knows how to do it can produce it faster than you can. It's like, do you want to spend an hour, 2 hours trying to post something, or do you want somebody else to just spend the 15 minutes to get multiple pieces of content out, versus trying to do just one different piece?
Yeah. And I think it's also important for business leaders to understand what's working. So that's where some of the testing comes in, right? So I don't think a business leader should be editing their own videos, but if they or focusing the majority on their time on creating content, unless your business is directly based in that, right? And that's like what you want to do and where your passion is. But a business leader shouldn't be creating that content, but leaders should have enough understanding to know what's working and know what's a good investment. And some that comes in from doing some of the nitty-gritty work, doing some of the posting, spending time on LinkedIn or Facebook, and interacting with other people's content, and having an idea, but also working with someone who's knowledgeable in the area that you can kind of learn from each other, and kind of having that humility to learn from other people and realize, like, oh, some of your ideas might be really good and some of them might not.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you said, yeah, you want the CEO making videos, or like trying to figure that part out, or you want him, managing the company, taking care of the company. It's like, depending on which level you are, just try to outsource it. I always say try to outsource. Just do it. It'll be faster, easier for you. It's like, are you unclogging, like, are you fixing your toilet? Are you fixing your car? Or are you just, sending it to somebody else? Just because you can try to do it doesn't mean you should. Just be careful and wary with that. I have a question on the different clients that you have. Are they on all the different platforms? Are they on many platforms, or is it like certain ones are only on specific platforms?
Yeah, it's kind of customized to whoever I'm working with. A lot, it's always specific platforms. Always, I mean, there's just so many platforms out there. Right now, like, for example, Twitter is a lot of fun, and I spend a lot of time on Twitter. But Twitter is not really an effective place to hire out for most people. Most people shouldn't hire someone to manage your Twitter. And so it's like understanding with what platforms you want to focus on, and kind of what some of that content that you're creating that can go on multiple platforms too. So some people are taking, a live stream and also turning that into a podcast, and also they have the live video, but then they're chopping that up and put it on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then also realizing that, oh, do you want to try to create that same type of content for Instagram Reels, for stories, for TikTok? So I always, when I'm working with someone, try to find their focus and find the platforms that's going to work for them. And I just recommend, in terms of what platforms that you're active on and you invest your time into, should be the ones that you see as effective now and effective in the future. And also, you should, when you're hiring someone, investing in someone else to do that, it's like, okay, let's focus first on what's going to work, what's going to make you money right now, and then focus on kind of building from there.
Yeah, and I think that brings up another good point as far as like, Reels. It's like there's always something else or something new that pops up. It's like, okay, it's like, are you going to try to figure that out, or just say, hey, tell the person who's taking care of this, hey, I want to be on Reels too. I want to be on this too. It's like there's always something new, and not only that, there's a learning curve. Just because you're doing one post, okay, you might try to learn from that, but the person who's already repurposing and doing micro content, that's what they do. They're already used to it. So they can tell you, okay, don't do it that way, do it this way. No, you need this type of frame. You need to put your text here in the middle. Like they already know. So it's like you can try to get that learning curve and try to figure it out and watch videos and all that stuff, or you just, hand it off, pass it off, and now you're focusing on your business.
Yeah, that's definitely valuable wisdom, because it's so easy to get bogged down with so many things, and we spend so much time just consuming, so much time just looking at Instagram. If you're going to focus on trying to, put out a lot of posts every day and manage your business, you're just going to get even more bogged down by that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's always something new, something shiny, something else to figure out. It's like, or things they're trying to push you on. Like TikTok. I remember when everybody was like, you gotta get on TikTok. Like a year ago. It's like, oh, okay, and then you have to figure out that. And then Clubhouse came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you have to be on there. You have to be on there. Then okay, now something else to go and figure out and try to master, so you can try to execute that. But that's why I leave it to the people who sort of do this every day, just to make it easier for you. And not only that, execute effectively. That brings me back to like people hire those social media people, but the stuff that they do is not effective, or the stuff or the way they do it is not effective, or they just put something out there to put something out there. So be very wary of that. I have clients before who I sort of helped out or saved, because it's like you're paying them how much and they're doing this, and they're just like, it's like the most basic thing that's not going to generate anything, no connection with anybody else. And it's like, okay, I had to sort of help them, rescue them, save them from that situation, and now they're doing a lot better.
Yeah, and one of the most powerful things, especially I would think of like individual entrepreneurs, in terms of like, someone who's selling a course online, someone who's a realtor selling houses, someone who's really kind of individual type of focused business, is and this applies to some businesses, accounts too and stuff. But like, there's a lot of power in just interaction, engagement. DMs are really powerful. So like, I would say, that someone should hire out someone to do the posting for them, but they should be doing the replying to comments. They should be replying to DM, because that's where you're really going to build a relationship with your prospective customers, with your audience, and lead to a lot of growth.
I was trying to look up your channel to bring it up here on the screen, but I'll bring it up right now shortly. It's funny because I was looking at, I always follow Gary Vee, and I got a text from him right now. I'm not sure if you're part of his little text community thing.
Yeah, I am.
It's like, have the best Sunday of your life. Why not make yourself happy? You're more in control than the world taught you to think. It's like that's another way. It's like keep communication going. It's like there's text. It's like, oh, we can't see it, but it's like there's text. Now there's a different way. And it has nothing to do. He's not selling me anything. It's just text to say, hey, have a great Saturday. It's like it's such a funny thing that we're talking about it. And there's Gary V text. That's another effective thing that we're doing is text. That's another platform. Community is another platform. It's like text-based platform, stuff like that. So if people wanted to reach you or find you, where can they go? I want to make sure I post it here.
Yeah, just search Joe Henkel wherever. I'm most active on YouTube, but Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I don't take my own advice of only focus on the effective platforms. But I'm kind of a little bit of everywhere, and I always respond to DMs. So if you have any questions or you want to connect, feel free to send me a message there.
Yeah, but I think you have to be everywhere anyways, because like you want people to find you. It's like plus what you're doing. It's not like it's not like you're trying to figure out. So at least you're sort of there and you're sort of everywhere. And then as far as for your clients, how do you help them out? Or do you have different packages, different offerings, or should people set up a consultation with you first?
Yeah, so I have different packages, but the best way to learn more is just send me a message and then schedule a call, and we'll kind of walk through like, oh, what's going to be most effective for you? What's going to work for you, and then customizing a package around your needs.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful. Just reach out to Joe. He'll talk to you. He'll kind of show you and guide you through the path. And I think that's what people need more. It's like somebody guiding them through, like not somebody just trying to sell you everything. Oh, you need the deluxe package, premium platinum. It's like, okay. Like, no. It's like from your business, based on your goals, here are the different options that you have. So it's like, which one of these do you want to go with? So I think that's a good way to sort of start with outsourcing your social media. Outsourcing is just see what works best for you. Don't try to do everything. Absolutely. And don't try to go and bananas and get some sort of ridiculous agency that's just going to put you on the same little factory line thing that everybody else is doing for them. It's going to be the same basic stuff. And for that, we're going to give you the old. I was going to bring you in with that one. And I got stuck in everything else. And then when the camera didn't switch over, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. So that distracted me. But for Joe, go find him. Joe's a freaking awesome person. I worked with him before. I worked with him many times. And it's like the work he does is great. And not only that, like his service, the way his service is awesome. So Joe, thanks for being on the show. And everybody, we'll see you next week, next Saturday. We're going to have another awesome guest. I think we're talking about Amazon live streaming. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody. And let's play some of my music.